Hello and welcome to another Shadowverse video. Today we're taking a look at a older deck for Unlimited at this time around. This is the Elana Heal Haven. It doesn't run anything new, it's basically sticking to the old stock standard cards from at least the last couple of the expansions, since this is still a pretty solid deck and I was needing to do some Haven missions, so I thought why not combine my two goals, make a video, do my missions, and play one of my favorite decks. So overall, nothing big changes. Unica, really good card for the early game striking. Otherwise, just late game push mostly. Can suffer a bit against HavenCraft, especially in Unlimited, and of course Blood, as they can both be quite aggressive decks. And this deck, while it handles aggression okay, it definitely doesn't handle them perfectly. So we are going to get right into this and take a look. So kicking off our first game here, we are going up against Sword. Sword is actually a fairly tricky matchup, as Unlimited Sword right now seems to be running a card that is basically immune to standard attacks, so you've got to ping it away, and we don't have a lot of options as far as that goes in this deck, so you'll notice that there are some pretty wonky plays for the mid to late game, trying to deal with bigger cards that now I know I need to deal with more early, without wasting too much. But our early game here is going to be pretty standard, nothing that we can play turn 1 and 2. Fortunately, Sword, very similar situation, not really playing anything substantial. Which is good, because it means we can go for the Elena's Prayer, probably straight into the Iron Knuckle Nun, which is again another great setup. Especially if we go Tender Rabbit Healer as well, and gain a slightly bigger board. Which will also be a nice play for the Unicorn Knight, which will probably be our next card onto the board. So there it is, Brave Intervention giving us the Steadfast Samurai, which is the annoying card. There, see, is protected. So you do need to take it out with a spell, typically, since its Clash ability really does ruin you pretty quickly. If it was a Strike ability, I wouldn't mind, but being a Clash makes it really hard to deal with this deck. It's not impossible, it's just more of an irritation. It's one of those cards that just kind of stalls you out, especially when they start giving it things like Ward, which Sword can do fairly well. So they're already given it immunity to targeting effects. So you can actually set up a pretty insane Sword board with that. If you can get the targeting effects off, you can get a Ward off, give it some stat boost, you can basically create an invincible monster, and it's a little bit of a scary card when you look at it that way. We do have Decree, and if I had a thought about it, I really should have just played it straight there. Decreed the board, reset us, and had another go. Instead, I decided to hold off, aim for the Realm of Repose play, and ping away as much as I can on the 5-3. Leaving them with just 1 health on it, I didn't think would be a problem, until they played Captain Licia, which now protects it until I remove it, so it was definitely a problem card this entire match, but not the end of the world. As I mentioned, just more irritating, because I can't really easily get rid of it. Luckily though, Repose does do a decent job of keeping our board fairly well off. Unfortunately, I still can't deal with this, no matter how good I got it. There's always a decent option though. It gives us some value here to at least get us started. And with our massive ward there, we should be fine. And as soon as that goes down, we can pretty much strike for victory. So it's really just a matter of taking out the 5-3 without losing our entire board. And there's another Steadfast Samurai, so not a fun thing when there's 2 of them, but at least at this point, if I wanted to go Decree, we'd pretty much wipe the board. So I wouldn't be in the worst situation if I went that way. Did decide to go for the Iron Knuckle Nun though, since we actually get to wipe it out with the end turn. We just can't attack. And that basically guarantees us victory from here, which is great. I mean, that was definitely a tough game to get over that, but once we did boost past it, it was going to be an easy swing for us. So that Sword deck is definitely a deck that focuses on putting all its eggs in one basket. So giving all of its boosts and all of its strategy to playing out those Samurai cards are much easier to deal with once you actually do take them out. So if you have any decent spells and you're going up against Sword, I would definitely wait a couple turns before going for any hard removal, just in case. This forest matchup though should be close and interesting. We've seen a good amount of aggro forest coming out of the current meta, so it'll be interesting to see if that's exactly what we're playing here. We've got a pretty average beginning, not really anything too crazy. They're going for very generic plays, and we're doing the same, just back and forward. Getting some decent followers down that should counter fairies. That was kind of my main hope. Divine Smithing, that's a pretty good card. Generating a lot of fairies now. That's a little bit of a worry. Luckily, Unica plus a Robo Wing, at least we'll develop our board. We can get a little bit more damage in and try and set up for the Elana next turn. Amata's Fairy Blade. So, this thing gets some incredible boosts. And I believe gives some great ability. It's actually a really cool card. Giving them basically insane fairy value. So we do need to take out the 6/5 here. The Elana is still our best play. It's really my only good option. We're going to lose it immediately, but it's worth it. At least we get the amulet up, and we've still got a rare mode play, so we can actually heal. Plus the Unica attack will give us another heal, and that'll give us a really good boost. And also a decent damage. They have got an incredible amount of fairies now, though, and they're going to definitely be pressuring us for an OTK. And with what's effectively 5 fairies, all at 3 damage, or not all at 3 damage, they were just short, I would say. I mean, 16 with the Evo, that's not bad at all. So I did find this deck to still be quite reliable. I would definitely recommend it if you're interested and have the cards to play it. It could probably do with some fine tuning with some of the newer cards. The new ward might be half decent since we do use a fair bit of ward in this kind of deck. And maybe just messing around with some stuff like Father of Refinement, even though we only run 1, and White Fang Temple and things like that. This deck definitely focuses a lot heavier on the building a big ward and doing some extra burn damage with things like Holy Bowman and of course Holy Marksman, which are both great cards. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the video. If you're interested in checking this deck out, there'll be a link in the description below. Please be sure to check that out, leave a like and subscribe, and until next time guys, see ya.